Okay. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Follow Me to Tennessee. Today we are coming to you from Pickwick Landing State Park, which is in, how do you say this name?
The nearest town I think is Counce, Tennessee.
Counce,
a couple miles away.
Yeah. So having a really great time. Sporting our KYD, Summer to Remember. If you don't follow Keep Your Daydream, we encourage you to. If you are RVers at all, they're fantastic, and we have learned so much from them. In fact, they're big inspirations to us. So shout out to Mark and Trish. But yeah, we wanted to talk to you a little bit more about another state park in Tennessee. This one being Pickwick Landing.
Yeah, Pickwick Landing State Park. It's on the Tennessee River, obviously part of the Tennessee River Valley, Tennessee Valley Authority river system, and there's a dam, and I'm so full of dam jokes. I'm going to refrain from that. But yeah, there's the TVA operates a hydroelectric dam here. Obviously, huge, employer and industry. Just the operation of the dam itself in this area. So.
Yeah. So Mark, being an engineer and also working for a local electric company, was as fascinated by the dam as anything that we've seen. So I can't say the same for me, but that was big for him to be able to go check out the dam and watch all the things that were going on around there.
Yes.
So anyway, we kind of wanted to share with you things we love about Pickwick and things maybe we don't love so much. One, it's close to us, so it's about a 3-hour drive from us. So it was very similar to Chickasaw, which we talked about in our last video. So it wasn't too far at all, a very easy drive.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody knows, we're from Clarksville, Tennessee. So yeah, about 3 hours, like Steph said, and easy, all highway, a little bit of interstate, but very level terrain, no really major topography changes. So a real easy drive.
Yeah. So we did come in, this is the first time that we've come into a campground when it was raining. And so most of our first day was a lot of rain, and that was interesting for us. We'd not had an experience where we spent a whole day and night in the camper with a lot of rain going on. So it was some interesting sounds, and we were kind of trapped in. But we did end up, because of that, going to eat at a local establishment, and we're fortunate because we have good friends that are from Savannah, Tennessee, which is the next town over, and so they told us all about what the locals need to know. And in fact, we've done some shopping here. We've gotten to go, like I said, we went to a little restaurant last night and had catfish on catfish special night. And what was the name of that? I can't even remember the name of the restaurant now.
Redwood Hut.
The Redwood Hut.
Yes.
And so our friend said it's not somewhere you would pick to go if you were driving through and you weren't a local, but we're really glad that we did. It was yummy. It was really good for us. And then,
if you're in a community like this, obviously, there are not the big chain restaurants, but there's the fast food restaurants up in Savannah mainly. But ask the locals, and I know a lot of folks we watch ask the park rangers, and they know this area and they know the community. And like Steph said, driving by that place, you probably wouldn't stop, honestly. Just from the looks, the outside looks, and we all know that's deceiving. And it was an older place, but the food was fantastic. The service was fantastic. They were so busy, they couldn't even keep up. So it was a great.
It's a good place when you pull into the parking lot on a Thursday night and you can't hardly get in. So yeah, great recommendation, and we're grateful for our friends for doing that for us. So anyway, so that's what we kind of did our first night. Had the dogs with us. We all kind of turned in, went to bed a little early.
But before, we didn't tell them the exciting news.
Oh, goodness, yes.
So we get here, like Steph said, kind of in between showers. So we were pretty fortunate. We were going to get set up and no rain, and got right in, got in our site, and we're literally about to hit auto level, our ground control auto leveling system, and one of the maintenance workers walks across the street, and we noticed them over there when we first got here. And he walks across the street and says, "Hey, we're gonna need you to move because we're about to cut down a tree." And I'm going, dude, I wish you'd have told me 10 minutes ago. I've already pulled the truck away. But anyway, understood. They were being overly cautious because the tree probably wasn't gonna hit us, but they just weren't sure what kind of, collateral damage could have been from other trees. So we hook back up, pull around the circle, kind of sit there and wait. And we've got a little bit of video of the actual falling of the tree, which was fun, and the guys were super excited because it fell exactly where they wanted. So good for them. But then we had a little trouble getting back in the site because I don't know if we were tired or hungry and had to go to the bathroom and all those things. But
yes,
but it was fun.
So a lot of the YouTubers we watch have made recommendations to us about things that you want to do before you pull into a campsite. And one is make sure you've stopped and gone to the bathroom recently. You're not hungry, you're not tired. We violated every one of those rules. We were starving, we were hangry. I had to go to the bathroom so bad. And so, yeah, we learned our lesson that they are not wrong about that, because you don't ever know. We thought we were going to whip right in, set right up. I'd have lunch ready in the next 20 minutes, and it ended up being about an hour before we could actually get into our spot. So, and then, like Mark said, the Pickwick Landing State Park spots are not exactly luxurious camping spots. In fact, ours is one of the better ones, and even at that, hopefully we'll get a picture for you, but we'll show you there's a big root sticking up kind of in the middle of ours, and so we have to kind of navigate around that. And there are two very large trees that you almost hit if you get in here at the right angle.
Yeah, you have to get up close to them to get to the more level spot on the campsite. It is an asphalt pad. Like Steph said, the root is kind of building or pushing up the asphalt, so you have to go over it. And the thing is, it's literally a maybe not even 9 foot, and our camper is 8 foot. So it's a very small window to get back in it. There's really no room for error because there's a big drop off on one side, and we actually were kind of fighting that a little bit that second time in when we had to make the loop.
Yeah. And so the thing about that is we have one of the better spots, even with all of that going on. We've driven around and looked at some of the others, and I'm not sure how you make them work, but I guess folks do, because we did just pull in just a few minutes ago and see the big campground is full sign. So apparently everyone's going to make it work this weekend. It is July 4th weekend, so, and we're sure it's going to get busy around here. But having said that, so I think one of the things we would maybe not love about it necessarily is that the spots are not great as far as level, and then even the concrete has a lot of cracks and potholes and the asphalt.
But even another oddity is there's no sewer. We knew that coming in, but the electric's on one side and the water's on the other side, and that may be a thing. We've not run into that yet, although it's not a problem, the water being on the camping side, and the electric 50 amp electric was on the driver's side. And then, but the spot itself has been great because it's very wooded and shady, and we have a nice picnic table, fire pit grill, a nice hummingbird feeder, and a walking trail literally right behind our campsite. We're going to try out here in a few minutes.
Yeah. So I would say, if I was going to say something that I do love about it, I love private sites. I don't like to be right on top of my neighbors when I come to camp, and so it is very secluded. You do feel like kind of you're in your own yard, and there's not a lot of activity going on, and so I've enjoyed that. I do think it's nice to have kind of a quieter spot. So.
Yeah. Steph said the campground's full this weekend, but literally there are 3 campsites around us, and it's Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock. So maybe they're coming later. But yeah, and I will say this, I don't know if we're going to get into the amenities of the campground. Pickwick Landing State Park is really nice. The lodge has been renovated in 2020. The restaurant in there, we didn't go to it yet, but I think it's redone, reworked. I'm telling you, the marina is probably world-class marina with boat storage and launching and dry dock and repair. And we did walk around this morning and saw a lot of that. But if one recommendation to the state park system is kind of put a little more money into the campsites themselves, and I think with a little bit of site prep on a lot of these, you could really turn this into a wonderful destination for a campground, because they've already redone the bathhouse with really nice showers and bathrooms. And the site itself isn't terribly hilly, but the whole layout isn't hilly, but none of the sites are very level. And obviously it's showing its age, but I think it could be really, it's got a lot of potential.
Yeah. And so having said that, definitely if you are into water activities of any kind, fishing, boating, sea-doos, any of that kind of thing, this is a place you definitely want to come to. The lakes are absolutely gorgeous, and then there's so many boaters out there, especially this weekend. There's just so much to do, and it's so pretty. The water is it's so pretty. So yeah, definitely not necessarily a hiking kind of a campground. Like there's not a ton of hills and mountains and hiking like you might find in East Tennessee. But if you're into the water at all, Pickwick is it's a great spot. And
Steph hit on this, but a couple of guys I work with that are big fishermen, they told me that Pickwick is kind of the new Kentucky Lake of fishing spots. As far as like the attraction to you guys that fish, and we can see that just from all the surrounding businesses, and the lake is super busy today. So yeah, the water sports and water things are what you want to do if you come to Pickwick.
Yeah, and so from the campground, we went this morning. We walked about 4 miles round trip to walk to the inn and to see the water, and just took the dogs on a kind of a long walk. Not a bad hike at all, not hilly, just flat. You're on the road a lot of the time, so it's not a bad walk from the campground over to some of the nicer amenities, which would be the inn and the water behind it and all of that. And then we also went and toured the TVA Campground. Does it have another name?
I think it's just the TVA Campground.
Yeah, that is kind of on water. It's right below the dam.
It's on the tailwater end, the lower part. Yes.
Yeah, and it was very nice as well. In fact, we kind of disagreed because that one's not private at all, but very level, nice new sites, and so Mark was he found that a little more appealing. I like to be in the shade, under the trees, more secluded in the woods, but I don't have to level the trailer, so I guess that's maybe why.
Yeah, it definitely was not as private, but and a little more densely, campsites, but the site areas were really nice. Didn't see any sewer over there. They may have some on some spots, but it looked like water and electric, and just looked like they'd even been reworked over the last few years, because they were really nice, hard gravel, packed gravel, and really nice kind of defined campsites with lumber 4x4s and such. So really nice area, and really good view of, like I said, the tailwater side of the dam, the lower end. And I've read on some reviews, people like to sit there and watch the barges and the boat traffic, come pass through, and obviously get lower down to the level of the dam to come through on the lake side. So
yeah, really, really nice. And then, like I said, having some friends that know Savannah well, we spent a little bit of time today, which Mark was not exactly loving. But
shopping.
I went to a boutique called Spalicious, which is actually the sister of a good friend of ours owns that, and so that was fun. And then as I was texting some friends of mine telling them that I had been to Spalicious, they are from here as well, and so they sent us to K&T Shoe Store, which is another little something you would not know if you're not local, and I got a couple pairs of shoes. So camping and shopping all in the same weekend, I would say that's a win for us all.
Yeah, and there's another little spot that's called the Outpost that's just before the dam, maybe a mile or so north, and we're going to check that out. I think that's a restaurant and maybe some dessert or
we've heard milkshakes and ice
yeah.
cream, so we're going to check that out later.
And I think it's kind of like I think there may be some arts and crafts going on there, because you can see a lot of buildings, and it's kind of a rustic, old-timey kind of Cracker Barrel type of outdoors, but it's a local place. So we're going to check that out. Sorry we don't have anything to tell you now about it, but we're going to see what that looks like. We may have a thing to add later about that.
Yeah. And then we've also heard about a place called Freddie T's, which as we drove by it last night, it looks a lot like what you might find at like Destin or Panama City. It's kind of a multi-layer restaurant, and maybe dancing and kind of a bar situation going on there, but it looks like a really fun place. And I've heard they have the giant milkshakes, so I don't know if we're going to do that or not, but Freddie T's is another local place that we've heard lots of good things about. So for sure. Okay, well, so I think what we want to do maybe is just talk about 4 categories. We've already kind of hit on them, but just let you know kind of what we think about them. So I think the first, at all the state parks, we really want to talk about what activities are available. And so again, I would say here, water, right?
Yeah, water around this area, but in the actual state park, I mean, there's other, there's obviously day use facilities for picnics and whatnot, and there's tennis and other types of, I think I saw there's an aviary bird attraction. There's probably lots of activities that we're not even aware of as far as what the park puts on. But the park itself is your pretty typical state park type of activities. Yeah. But water is the dominant feature in this area. Yeah.
Fishing, boating, kayaking, canoeing, anything you would want to do on water, you can find that at Pickwick for sure. Okay, what would you say about accessibility and ease of camping? So like the actual spots, what would you?
Yeah, they're not the greatest, and like Steph and I said already, I mean, they all seem very short and narrow, and they're not level. So sorry state parks, but they're just not. And we're just watching a couple of longer trailers pull in, and I don't know how they're going to do it, because we, like Steph said, there's maybe 50 or so campsites around here, and we really probably noticed 5 that were probably accessible for larger rigs like ours, maybe over 30 feet. And then when they were level and long enough, then you were going to be battling some trees.
Potholes,
with either trees for your slides or even trees for your vertical clearance coming in. So
for sure.
Sorry, but they just need some work.
Yeah. So then our just overall campground impressions, what would you say?
I mean, it's really not wooded, I think, would be the first impression. Super friendly. All the state park folks are super friendly. Even asking us to cut the tree down they were great guys, and really hopped on it because they knew they were kind of in our way. But overall, I like it because it's very wooded and secluded. Those are my favorite things.
This spot particularly. So we're in spot 3, and we really do like it.
Yeah.
And then I would say cleanliness. It's very clean.
Yes.
They do a good job. We have watched the maintenance folks. They work hard, and they've definitely kept it clean, and they're very helpful. And so I'd say it's a very clean place for sure.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I use the bathhouse, and I use the shower, and super clean private showers, and because we don't have sewer, so I was trying to conserve some holding tank capacity.
Yeah. So overall, I would say, I don't know, a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give Pickwick?
I mean, a good 6.5.
So you got to set a 7, but that's the difference in us. He's a little more critical than me, but I'd give it a solid 7. Yeah. We would definitely come back.
Yes.
It's a very nice place, and we've had good weather, and so we're enjoying ourselves on this 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, it's great. The weather after the rain yesterday turned out fantastic. So it's a great area. I mean, you're maybe 5 miles from the Mississippi state line, and you go up around and you can go into Alabama. So you're kind of right in that lower part of Tennessee. You're obviously in the northeastern side of Mississippi and the northwestern side of Alabama. So I'm sure you knew that.
Well, I knew that because we drove to Mississippi yesterday. So,
but when you go to Mississippi, there's nothing.
Yeah, I didn't know we were close. So.
Yeah.
So thanks for spending some time with us, letting us talk a little bit about Pickwick Landing State Park. And like Mark said, we're about to take a little hike.
Yes.
We're going to cook out again tonight and enjoy our 4th of July weekend.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.